Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot, and today I just wanted to do something different, a little exploration of 3 decks that do not have complete pips. Whether or not these were intended to be read as tarot decks or card-playing decks kind of varies, and I may not really know, but I can tell you what I know about them and how I use them, and one that I have not explored yet, but it's been calling to me, and I will get to that later. First, I wanted to talk about the Giuseppe Maria Mitelli Tarocchini. Now, Tarocchini immediately tells us that it does not have the full 1 through 10, that it is a smaller deck. This is a deck that I have worked with and I enjoy tremendously. I also think it's a very beautiful deck. It is a pip deck in the Italian style, but there are more decorated pips. This deck is from the late 1600s, the original deck. One thing I find amusing is all of the knights are, I believe they're all facing away from us. There's beautiful illustrations. This particular version has plain white backs. Really gives us the focus. This has the older style majors. So that's the Wheel of Fortune. And we have the minors. Aren't these lovely? And again, the Queen of Coins, dropping the coins. One of the most unusual force cards here, a murder taking place. This gives these, give you so much to read when you're reading these pips. It's been a while since I worked with it. I'm having trouble remembering which numbers it's missing. It's not organic. I think it's 1, and then it skips 2, 3, 4, 5, and goes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have an ace, there's a 9, another 9, there's an 8, 6, yeah. So you're missing 2, 3, 4, 5, and when you're reading with this deck, and personally I haven't missed them. When I'm reading with this deck, I still think it reads very clearly. In pip style, you need to know some of the more obscure. This is the Tower. This is the lightning striking. Some of your more obscure, this is Strength with the Pillar, Time or Old Age, and because that's Time and we have that, that means this is the Star card, not the Hermit card. So you need to know how to read historic decks and what the usual images are in an historic deck. But there are other versions of this deck. I liked this is, I think, the largest size that's out there. You can see it's a large size. I like the larger size, and I just adore these illustrations and the coloring of these illustrations. This is by Dal Negro. So that's the Giuseppe Maria Mitelli Tarocchini. It's a deck I enjoy working with tremendously. It's just beautiful. Again, from the mid to late 1600s. This deck is the Persian Tarot by Madame Indira by Grimaud. I consider this more of a Sybil deck than a tarot deck, and that is how I've used it. I use it more like oracle cards, although I'm doing more reading of Sybils now, so that I still might I might read it. Now this deck has Ace, 3, 5, 7. To get out the book. Ace, 3, 5, 6, 10. So those are the numbers. And then this is, while it says it is the Persan Tarot, it's a tarot as in just meaning cards. It is not a tarot system in the majors at all. And it has more suits. The owl suit, swords, scythes. This is one of the majors. I just got this because these majors are gorgeous. And then they have a princess, this coins. They have princesses, knights. And then this is just one of the random majors. Since I don't feel that I am very good at learning a whole bunch of meanings of different systems, what I would probably do is read the pips. Like tarot hearts is another. So right away we've got 5 suits there, and diamonds. We had diamonds here, okay. I would probably just read these as tarot pips and then read these intuitively if I were going to be using them alone for a reading. I do love the owl suit. So these are not 2s, these are suit markers that then have a different item in the corner. And that, since that's the ace, it has the flower. Look at that. Look at that striking, graphically beautiful card. Yeah, so the 5 suits are hearts, coins, scythes, swords, and owls. Marvelous death card. But these brilliant colors and these other cards, a sun card there. I just think it's an incredibly beautiful deck. As I said, I have used it more just as an oracle card to pull one of these cards and then use the book. Wait a minute. To pull one of these cards, and as some of you know, those of you who watch my channel, I often will use one oracle card as a capping thought on a reading of tarot. So that is how I have used this deck so far. And because of the bright, beautiful colors, it's usually a great addition to the table. And this is a case where I would look in the book to read that oracle card, because it's a completely different system, and this brain isn't taking in all of that information. And so the third deck is certainly not new. It's limited edition Vienna Secession Tarot. Again, it's not a conventional tarot by any means. This is it's an art deck, just the way in music that there are art songs that were written, actually during this time period. Art songs were written from 1906. At the turn of the century, art songs were written that were intentionally not going to be sung by everyone. They were more esoteric and took a more classically trained voice. And I think of this deck sort of similarly to that. I'm going to start in the back. This deck also does not have the full numbers. It has a king, the queen, the knight, and the page, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, and that's it. So you definitely could do a reading with that, just knowing you're not going to have those low numbers, and you're not going to have aces. So you might want to think about where in the court cards you could, or just where, if you're going to try to read it, as I am about to do, I'm going to try to do a reading with this because I've seen a lot of flip-throughs of this deck, but no readings with it. So I'm going to try to do a reading, and I think what I'll do is the page would also act as an ace because there's that youth beginning aspect to it. These are also supposed to be different. Let me get out the book here. These are supposed to be different cultures represented here. 4 periods. So the spades are supposed to be Assyrian. The clubs are the Crusades. So we're in the Crusades now. And then it's just, the pips are what I call static pips. Although the decorations do change for the suit, they are the same from card to card. And they just fill out a geometric pattern. Next is the diamonds, which are for Egypt. So we have Assyrians, Crusades, Egypt, and the hearts are France, specifically France that in the 15 and 1600s. So here we do have, oh, that's what it is. I forgot. The black cards have the 10, 9, 8. That's 10, 9, 8. 10, 9, 8, 7. And the red cards have ace, 2, 3, 4. There are, in the book, it gives you a lovely history of the artist, Ditha Moser, known as Editha. She lived from 1883 to 1969. But it doesn't tell us anything about if this was a particular card game that was played with this. If you're a card game aficionado and you know how this red-black split would be played for a certain game, you can tell me. And now we have the majors, and the majors do not relate to anything in a normal tarot deck, although there are 21 of them with a Fool. So I'll go backwards. So that would have been the World card. Apparently this is a place that they lived. So many of these had personal references for her. But you can see there just isn't any direct correlation with almost all of these for a normal tarot deck. See, the Hermit got, you know, soldiers in front of barracks. Some of these some of them present changes from the top to the bottom, but most of them I've seen are the same. So apparently this is a magician card because there are some historical decks that show the magician playing an instrument. So there is a magician, and this is the Fool. And his hat contains an image of himself. But again, no difference either way. And the same thing with the court cards. They are the same in either direction. So I'm going to do two things. First, I'm just going to do an Arcana battle with the majors of this deck. Because of their length, and they're a decent weight. They're definitely a little heavier than a normal poker card weight, but the long, narrow shape makes them a little harder to shuffle. And they may loosen up a little bit, but this is the first time I've used these. I just unwrapped these today. I've had them for a couple years now, at least. And for some reason, they've really been calling me this week that it was time to try to work with them. Okay, so I'm just going to do an Arcana battle with this, and which I've talked about before. Just 2 cards, and you just pick your favorite image and keep going. Leave your favorite image. They also have square corners, which makes them, you know, they can catch on things. Gotta take the one with the harp. Okay. So as I said, we know this one is the Magician card. As to whether, I don't particularly feel that the higher numbers bear resemblance, for the most part, to the other tarot cards. So I would just read them intuitively. And here I say, you know, the Magician card is having your tools, being able to use them, and being able to make other people happy with them, to make music that all can enjoy. Being aware of all of the tools that you have, and also that no one is free from a dark side. And it looks as if the sun is coming up above your hat. You have a light and a dark side. And here we have someone pouring water onto a smaller version of the house. And here we do have a larger version of the house, which would mean stability. Looks like a nice house, comfort, stability, and water in this case I would take to mean the flowing of growth, emotions pouring into the house to create this lush green background, and caregiving. So using your skills to help promote comfort and caregiving is what I would read in that. And now I'm going to do a larger reading with the full deck. I think I'm going to be using a spread I like called the Fourfold Vision spread. It was a spread created by Ed Buren for the William Blake Tarot. And it has become one of my favorite standard spreads. This can just kind of act as both a general reading and a deck interview for me. That's the Page of Spades. Okay. So again, I said I could read this as an ace, also the Page of Spades. Reading that also as an ace, so the beginnings, thought and communication, messages being brought to us today. the messages may be somewhat pointed. But there's also, this is a stylized rose in this deck, so I'd say good news overall. This is the Queen of Clubs, the Queen of Wands. Oh, hello, that's me. I think I did tell you I always look for the deck to tell me how it identifies me in a deck interview, and here she is, but on a larger scale. So this is the topic. This is the topic, this new information. In this spread, this is the superficial way of looking at this. It would be highly creative. So this message, thoughts, your thoughts are highly creative. Your thoughts are dependable, because the Queen of Wands is dependable. And there's one book that I read, I always remember the phrase, said she'd be someone that would be a fantastic friend, but you wouldn't necessarily want to be her. She does hold this circle of what looks like more clubs, so more creativity. She holds a circle, which I interpret usually as love, and then she has her wand of creativity. And she looks very serious about it. So these are new messages, fresh new messages that can be both pointed and beautiful. So superficially, I'm going to take this creatively and seriously and lovingly. For a deeper than superficial look at this, we have the Three of Hearts, the Three of Cups, great celebration. So a great celebration of this message of creativity and thought, and both sharp and beautiful new thoughts, new messages, and a springing up of this new thought. This card modifies this card. So this is the Two of Cups. So we have great love, great affection, an inherent understanding and affection added to this celebration. I always juxtapose this with the Lovers, where it's about a choice, and I think that the Two of Cups is just about a natural affinity. So this Queen of Wands, with her serious creativity, her serious way of thinking about things, and yet loving, looking at this new message of inspiration and thought and communication with celebration and love. And then finally, this card is, I do want to look this up again. I think they said this was a place that the family had worked, or the family business. This represents the brewery that made the family fortune. So that is probably worth knowing. Of course, in a traditional deck, this is also the Judgment card. And so I wouldn't, as I said, I wouldn't always impose those meanings on this. So this would be great good fortune. Either way, we've got good messages here, good fortune here. The wellspring, but also looking back, almost like a Ten of Pentacles, looking back on the family inheritance, the family fortune, that from which you get great stability in your day. And then also judgment. So in this case, perhaps it's less about an eternal judgment and more about discernment, being one of the gifts that comes with this message, is that we have good fortune and discernment, along with some hard work. And then great stability. So I don't think you could ask more than, firing up your creative thoughts, your communication with innate affinity, celebration, and stability and success. So that's your reading for today, whenever you're reading this. This is Cara from Cara Tarot. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of 3 decks that have different pip systems. This is the Vienna Secession Tarot, the Guesseppi Mitelli Tarocchini, and the Persian Tarot by Madame Indira. Thank you.